Nonetheless, we have the Catholic Catechism. Article 5 says that Jesus descended into hell. These things are in a place called Tartarus, not in hell, Hades. They're in a compartment, maybe we could say, of Hades, but they're not in hell proper. So the Catechism says he went down to hell, Jesus. On the third day, he rose again. Just briefly, the reason I don't believe that is because the account in Peter, if we couple it with Jude, says that Christ went down to Kerizu, which means to proclaim something. The belief is that Jesus went down there to preach, to sort of evangelize dead human beings who are in hell, no less, so they're wicked, and somehow to preach to them, I guess, in order to convert some of them. First of all, the wicked are never redeemed. There's no place in Scripture where it says that the wicked dead, right, have a second chance at immortality. There's no text that exists. If such a text existed, it would undermine our whole faith. Think about it. If there's a chance for a Hitler-like, we always mention Hitler, but he's the Antichrist of our times, right? He's the go-to figure. But someone as bad as Hitler would somehow find redemption. I think it would destroy my faith, not about yours, but then what's the point? It would undermine not only the whole of our faith, it undermines the whole letter of Peter. For example, in 1 Peter 2 and chapters 2 and 4, I'll just paraphrase what he says. For those who do not believe, Christ has become a stone or a rock that will crush them because they disobeyed the word. That is the word of the kingdom, the word of the gospel. As they were destined to do. It's done. It's dusted. Literally, they're dusted. It's destined. For if it's hard for even a good person to be saved, says Peter, what chance will the wicked have? So think about that. If Jesus went down there to preach, to somehow evangelize dead people, dead wicked people. Okay, so I talked about this place called Tartarus. It's called a prison. Prison is never Hades. No one goes to prison when you're dead. You go to Sheol. In the Hebrew Bible, it's called Sheol, which is basically grave dome, or the place of the grave. It's never described, as far as I know, someone might correct me, as a prison. It's the earth. It's underground. It's done. It's dusted. Interestingly enough, only angels right now, if we believe there are angels down there, are in prison, or later Satan will be put in prison. For example, Revelation 18, chapter 18 and 20 says that one day he will be tied up and thrown in prison. Again, Tartarus is not Hades, it's not hell. By the way, that's not a proper translation of Hades. Hades is just the grave. There's no such thing as hell. Hell is a Catholic concoction that has obviously been taken by Protestants, unfortunately. Tartarus is not Hades, hell. It's not Gehenna, the lake of fire. It's in the grave, in Hades. It's not Hades. Like I said, it's sort of, look at it as a compartment of Hades, or the grave. In the New Testament, this is similar to the abyss. There's a reference to the abyss in Luke 8:31, when Jesus is encountering one of the demons, and the demons, remember, says, "Are you here to judge us before our time? Don't throw us in the abyss." Luke 8:31. The abyss pops up in Revelation 9. Now, was Jesus dead when he went down there? No. 1 Peter 3:18 says he was made alive. To be made alive means you're not dead, Kate. It's like when I wake up, it means I'm not sleeping. He was made alive in the Spirit, by the power of God's Spirit, which parallels, by the way, 1 Peter 3:21, the resurrection of Jesus the Christ. The word biblical commentary, there's a growing consensus. Isn't that interesting? People who devote themselves to language, who are lucky enough to find a profession in it, biblical studies, theology, are coming to these blatant conclusions. I would ask you to read 1 Timothy 3:16, which along with 1 Peter 3, specifically 18. Listen to this. Although I hope to come to you soon, says Paul to Timothy, I'm writing you these instructions so that if I'm delayed, you will know how people ought to conduct themselves in God's household. 1 Timothy 3:15, which is the church of the living God, the pillar of foundation, etc. 16, beyond all question, the secret, should be really secret, mysterion, I prefer secret. It's not a mystery we'll never know, but a secret is revealed. From which true godliness springs is great. So this is a great secret. He, that is Jesus, appeared, manifested. He was here as a flesh and human being. He was made right by the Spirit or through the Spirit, was seen by angels, was preached among the nations by us as resurrected, was believed on in the world, well, some believe, not the whole world, was taken up in glory. Read that with 1 Peter 3:16-18, and you'll see that basically Peter and Paul are talking about the same event. Why? Well, he was made alive by the Spirit, vindicated, says Paul. He was seen by angels. Who? What angels? Well, maybe down there. Maybe that's an illusion. Paul knows this story very well, by the way. He was preached, yes, among that he was believed by some in the world, and taken up. See the trajectory? Christ is dead. He comes back to life. He goes down to this compartment of Hades, not hell. He announces his victory. For example, I won despite your worst efforts to stop or corrupt my bloodline. It's a sort of in your face, as we say.